The Retail Grocers Association ironing out its issues with the government. Of course, the reason for the announcement initially was to begin to bring relief to Bahamians, particularly those in need, so they can afford to feed themselves and their families. Well, guys, what now?
Well, Peggy, you want this or you want me to have it?
You go ahead.
Okay. Well, you know, it pains me when you have elected officials who have never read basic economics or never studied history. And what we are seeing now is already played out before. Basic economics talks about market forces determining the price. When I did my master's degree, we asked the professor, how do you determine the price of a product? And we were talking specifically about a Michael Jordan's $200 shoe. And he said, simple, whatever the market can bear. If the market can bear 200, then that's the price. And so when you start to artificially inject pricing on things, you have what Venezuela had in 2014. Remember when Hugo Chavez died, Maduro created some new law called the Fair Price Act, which cost the same thing that the exact same thing he's doing. He capped off profits on prices on everything in the country. The consumer said, okay, buddy, if that's the profits I could make, then you buy the products then. And so they just, all of the merchants, the television companies, the people who make television, refrigeration, they said, listen, after this inventory go, we ain't buying no more. And it's on you. So if you want to determine what the price is, then you sell it. And so what happened was all of the merchant shops were empty. So there was nothing to buy. So while you create what they call an artificial demand because prices are low, there is no commodities because they're not replenishing the products. And so if you study history, Mr. Prime Minister and whoever's creating this law, you will see that that's a failed attempt. Venezuela in 2014 did it. And the whole thing collapsed. Because think about it, right? You know, these merchants bring in product. You're saying that I'm capping off your percentage margin at 30%. You're not factoring administrative costs and all the other costs that's in it. So you're saying to them that you could only make 35% profit, but you have to factor in what is the administrative cost with all the other costs is, you see? And, you know, when you're looking at, you know, you're saying, oh, the people are gouging. The biggest gouger in this whole thing is the government, really. Because when you have to pay business license tax, you don't pay on net, you pay on gross. So let's just say, Shanique, you make $1 million this year, right? Just hypothetically, right? Okay. In your business, hypothetical business, you make $1 million, right? When you factor in your operating costs, your cost of sales and so on, and then you net only $5,000, right? That's all you take home. You paying your business license fee on the $1 million, not what you would actually make.
Right.
So the biggest rob in this whole thing is the government. See what Peggy, when you look at it, you know, America has some anti-monopolistic policies, and that is because you don't want one company controlling a market. In other words, controlling prices. And so we have to, this is where competition comes in. When you have more competition in the market, then you could battle for prices. That brings what they call equilibrium to the price markets. However, when you have one person controlling everything, then they could set their margins high and so on. But if the government comes in and try to artificially force prices down, then what you will see is less commodities on the shops. If you're saying to me now I could only make 10% on diapers, then why are you bringing diapers? Because that's going to be a hassle because I ain't really making no money on it. Always remember, consumers or merchants, entrepreneurs, we don't push products because we want to push products. We push products because we want to make a profit. And if there's little margins on profits, we don't bother with it because it's too much hassle to put those products on the shelves. And so the government got to be very careful because it's treading on a very dangerous line. Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. whoever is in charge of all of this, study Venezuela in 2014 and how their economy collapsed with the very same policies, the Fair Price Act that Maduro implemented, that put caps on all of these things. And that is why we're finding ourselves, that's why they found themselves in the gutter. We're about to find ourselves in the gutter now. And see, for me also too, it's not the government forcing the prices, you know. It's that when you have an economy where nobody has any money, no matter how you cap it, they still ain't got no money to buy it. And so we have not created economic wealth for the Bahamian people. And that is the fundamental problem. We push money to our cronies in these political parties. We push money to people who support our red and our yellows, but we don't push people who are Bahamians. Everybody's supposed to be able to have access to the economic pie. And this economic pie then gives you opportunities to buy goods and commodities. But if you only have a certain amount of people who can get access to all of the monies that are floating around, then we will never have people who can afford these things. And this is the fundamental problem. And so the government has to be very careful with these artificial price caps because you're going to cause a down spiral in our whole economy. It's socialism. It's a strong form of socialism.
And dictatorship.
That is, no, it's a socialistic policy that really controls what you should do and so on. And so we got to be careful. I mean, we have a lot of socialistic policies in our society, like those coupons, like national insurance. All those are tenets of socialism. But when you're starting to strong the private sector now, you're crossing over a border and you're dictating to me what I can make and what I should not make. And that is really, really getting into communism, socialism. So we've been talking about how the government is double taxing. The government is double taxing on everything coming into the country. They still have not fixed that problem yet, you know, because when you bring your products in, when they calculate the duty and the shipping, then they charge you VAT on the duty and the shipping. You can't charge me VAT on my duty. If you can charge me VAT on the commodities, not VAT on the duty and the commodities and the shipping. And so the government is really tangled up in this as well too. So the merchants, for me as a business person, right, the government gets their money at the top, gross. Then they can get the double taxing. And so really and truly, the government have a responsibility to play their part as well too if you're trying to bring costs down.
Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow our TikTok account. Thanks.